Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I thought in honor of Halloween, October, and all things spooky, I would cover my top 3 horror podcasts with you. Okay, let's get started. Number 3, Let's Not Meet, hosted by Andrew Tate. On Let's Not Meet, the podcast, we get to hear stories from users that write in and share an experience, something traumatic that happened to them. They literally feel like they would never want to meet said person or people involved in the story ever again. Some of the creepy tales of caution are just scary AF, and I really enjoy tuning in at the start of the week to each new episode. Okay, number 2 is Spooked by WNYC Studios, and the host is Glenn Washington. On Spooked, and I recently discovered this in September. These are true life stories, about 3 or 4 per episode, and some of them are about the supernatural, shadow people, paranormal experiences. It's just gone wrong. It's a podcast that if you're interested in the paranormal, if you like to be spooked or scared, if you're into anything that might be out there, then that podcast is the one for you. Before I get to my number 1 horror podcast for the month of October, if you like these type of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. What kind of podcast do you listen to? Do you listen to horror podcasts, true crime? What are you interested in? And without further ado, my number 1 horror podcast is Radio Rental, and that's hosted by Payne Lindsay. Hands down, this one is my favorite horror podcast. This podcast covers not only the supernatural, but it also covers near-death experiences, the supernatural, ghost stories, unbelievable things, just things that are out of this world are covered on this podcast. And instead of the user submitting the story, the difference here is you actually get to hear the story from the own person's mouth. Yes, they actually get the person to recount their story. The first episode had me reeled in like you would not believe. I don't want to give too much away because it was a good story. What I also really like about this podcast is the fact that it has a vintage feel to it. The host, or the fictional character that speaks to viewers for the most part, is Terry Carnation, and Terry runs a VHS, so a video rental store. And if you were born in the 2000s, probably don't know what a VHS is, but it's very nostalgic for people born in the 80s and prior, maybe even 90. So it has a vintage feel to it, and you get to hear all these different stories, and Terry's humor is sometimes just what you need in order to keep on listening. So those are my top 3 favorite true horror podcasts, and if you are interested in more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time.